Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Alright. Never had one, but this is the creepiest thing I can remember. Two things actually. Before I get into it, I need to say my father is a man that's very easily startled and overreacts a lot when it does so. He's also one of those kinds of people that lacks a flight response and just goes for fight. These will diffuse the creepiness of the story, but they are necessary. When I was young, my family lived in a small house which was in front of the woods. Nothing creepy about these woods, just trees. Before the woods started, there was a large, flat grass terrain that technically belonged to us but was so big and so close to the woods we had fenced it off. Risk of someone creeping through the woods through there to steal and shit. Anyway, one day we are getting ready to go out for family time. Me and sis are playing in the backyard, running around and shit. Suddenly sister stops dead in her tracks and starts to look at the flat grass terrain near the woods. Something very similar to this was standing there, at the edge of the woods. We are pretty sure we never saw any man-shaped tree there before, so we stand looking at it and whispering to ourselves. Couple of minutes, the tree doesn't move, so we decide to get inside to get our kids binoculars so we can look at it better. Step inside the kitchen. Get distracted as kids always do. Start hearing heavy footsteps outside, dry leaves being stepped on the ground, etc. Getting closer and closer. Me and sister just bolt the fuck out of the kitchen up the stairs yelling for our dad. Dad comes running naked out of the shower trying to cover himself with a hand towel, yelling back because we are yelling. We yell, in the backyard. Naked dad runs out the door to the backyard and runs around yelling, what? Nothing found. Weird tree also wasn't there anymore. Another one, couple of years later. Be hanging around in the backyard with friends doing kid stuff. Near dusk, mother yells at us to get inside. We look at the fence for some reason. Big ass motherfucking white wolf, pale as snow, standing there. Bigger than any dog or wolf I ever saw. Looked like a fucking lion. White fur everywhere. Red eyes. Look directly at us, we freeze solid. Wolf turns away and walks to the woods. Again run inside yelling for dad. Dad comes running out again in his flip-flops and shorts yelling, what? Wolf vanished. Only time dad wasn't pissed at us because people had seen wolves there before. Nobody believed us about the size of that thing.
Post the creepiest experience you had. Here is mine. It's no jump scary, but the strangeness. Was stationed in Kosovo before it got independent. Was assigned to check this Serbian home not far from our post. 4 of us headed out to check the place as reports of a disturbance were coming in. Arrived at a place, looked like a typical rundown house in Kosovo. All dark except for a dimmed light that peeked through the window. We followed standard procedure. No answer through several tries, contacted backup for potential firefight. Decided that breaking in was necessary but still cautious of potential danger. Backup arrives. We break in. Standard shouting, and through the dark I could see an elderly man sitting on a worn-out sofa. He didn't take notice of us but was rather fixed on a point on the wall. One of the officers asked him something in Serbian but the man did not take any notice. Shit was eerie as fuck. Hear some wail coming from the door near the dried-out fireplace. 2 bros open and 1 goes in, I soon follow. Stairway led to the basement, dark as fuck down here. See an older lady standing facing her back to us. We ordered her to identify, but he just started laughing like a crazy cunt and started walking backwards to us. Serious moment of tension as both our guns were on her. She came between us and turned around. Her face was axed through her left eyeball and her lips while her nose seemed broken. She broke down and fell. Dragged her out while her husband was taken to the station. Nothing paranormal, but fuck it, I was spooked as fuck.
Camped out in a treehouse in the woods about 200 yards from our house with a few friends and my brother one time. Was about 15 feet off the ground and was built by my dad, halfway supported by trees and halfway by posts in the ground. Middle of the night, wake up and realize that someone is sawing it down. What the fuck? JPG. Wake my buddies and brother up, stay silent for a bit, they keep sawing. Finally we make noise and hear them run off. Examine the damage in the morning, after not sleeping at all. One wooden post was sawed all the way through, the other was halfway. My dad never let us camp out there again.
I've got a story that still confuses me today. Be 12 or so old me. I live in a mountain town in Colorado. Dense birch forest that I used to play around in, not many animals that could pose any danger for me. Fucking around in the woods one day, see a weird growth on a birch tree. Try to peel it off, trying to help tree bro out. Rip a small hunk of the greening, gooey tree off. Hear someone clearing their throat, followed by a rough, worn, animalistic female voice say,
"Don't do that."
Confused. Looking around me is confusing.
Up here.
Look up to see a big, fat crow with teeth and a long blue tail.
Don't do that.
Run away saying sorry, scared as fuck. Look back as I'm running, the bird thing is gone. I've never heard anything about this thing, ever. I think it might have been a figment of my childhood imagination.
B13. Go in the woods to hunt behind my house. 12 hours go by in usual spots and nothing. Try exploring to see if I kick up anything. Come across an old abandoned farmhouse. Go inside. Look around for a bit. Hear some sounds coming from upstairs. Go near the stairs and they are collapsed in no way up. Hear loud echoed yell. Too spooky for me, run out of house. Outside of house still running till I fall in a hole. Try to grab onto the edge, it's a little high and I can't get enough leverage to get out. Notice a large stone at the top has an engraving with my last name in it. Realize it's a tombstone. Spend another 4 hours stuck in the grave till my dad hears me yelling and gets me out. Get told that the house was my great-great-grandfather's and he had a family plot on the property that was moved decades ago. Find out he had a caretaker and his wife look after the place while he was away. One night there was a natural gas leak and the couple died in the house. Pretty much why the house was abandoned.
8 years old. On a hike with my dad and 2 other adults. We hike through the woods and come to an overgrown field. There is a small house and we go to look. It is abandoned, so we go inside. It is still furnished, and there are personal items. Cobwebs, mildew, and dust everywhere. I am fascinated, but the adults seem perturbed. For some reason my dad knocks on the wall. The feel when there is an answering knock from the attic. He knocks 3 times and there are 3 knocks in return. They start calling, asking if someone is up there. Silence. They are upset and I am starting to get scared. He knocks a few times, pauses, and a few more. Same pattern comes back from the attic. We rush outside. There is an access door into the attic under the eaves. They pile an old table and some boxes to reach it. One guy climbs up, opens the door, and peers in. Darkness. He calls several times if anyone is there. Silence. They knock more but there is no response. They have no light and it is pitch black inside. After a while they decide to leave. I wish my dad was still alive so I could ask him about that.
B13. Sleeping in the downstairs bedroom. He went peacefully, but a previous homeowner died in the bathroom. His wife dragged him to what was now my room to dress him. Always felt a presence in that room. Unexplained, bright green stain in the carpet. Almost like a small group of green threads instead of brown. Anyway. Always been a restless sleeper. Wake up at 3:33 a.m. My alarm clock, radio starts going haywire. Playing random country and static. I freak the fuck out. Try pressing all the buttons, nothing works. End up unplugging it. The dial isn't lit up anymore, but it's still going. Leave to get my dad. When we get back, it dies as soon as he steps into the room. Also. Be me a few weeks ago. Driving through a nearby rural community. I have an FM transmitter in my car for my phone. All of a sudden it gets super statusy. Right as I drive by a church it switches stations. It's just some guy saying random words. No regular cadence to his voice. After a while it goes back to static and my phone starts playing music again. And one last one. Be Innawoods last Wednesday. Area I'm in used to be Native American holy ground, Black Hand Gorge, if anyone knows the area in Ohio. Having fun photographing in the snow. Slide down a hill to get closer to the river. Setting up my tripod and camera. Suddenly look up for no reason. There's a large black figure watching me across the gorge. I mean, I'm 6 foot and this guy looked a head or two taller than me. Really bulky, like he was wearing a huge coat or furs. Look down to take a picture of him. When I look through the viewfinder, he's not there anymore. I saw him on the left-hand side, on the far bank in the space between the two nearby trees.
Be me in high school. Visiting uncle for summer. Uncle's house in the middle of a forest in the Allegheny Mountains. Stuck inside during a really bad thunderstorm around dusk. Go outside to let the cat in. See bright orange light in the woods. Looks like an orange floodlight. Pic related, looks similar to what I saw. No neighbors around for miles. Ask uncle if people might be hunting in the woods. He says no, it's not hunting season. Point out the light in the woods. Light moves very slightly, like someone with a lantern walking around in the woods. Uncle thinks someone is trespassing on his property. Wait until the rain lightens up, then go out to check it out. Light keeps moving, going farther into the woods as we walk towards it. Call out for a response. No response. No noise coming from the light. Uncle stops dead in his tracks. Says we need to go home. I ask why. He won't say, just needs to go home. As we head out of the woods, the light disappears. Get inside the house, no one talks about the light. Keep staring out the window, looking for the light. House stays eerily quiet and calm until it's time to go to sleep. Look outside and see light again, wandering around the edge of the woods. Wake uncle up, tell him the light is back. He tells me to leave it alone and just go to bed. Watch the light for about an hour from the bedroom window, but finally go to bed. The next morning, we found the cat dead on the back porch with its head missing. It looked like it had been gnawed off, but the rest of the body was untouched. We buried the cat in the backyard by the garden. She was a good cat. That night the light returns, around dusk. I stand outside watching it. Call out to it. It sits quietly for a minute, then I hear a faint meow from the woods. Go inside, lock the door, and watch it from the window. Throughout the night, we both hear a cat meowing and yowling in the woods. Can't sleep, too freaked out. Just watching the light move in the woods, and listening to the noises. Morning comes, and light disappears again. Uncle says he has never seen or heard anything like it. He has lived there for 10 years. We go outside to check the woods again. No sign of humans living in the woods. There's nothing abnormal there during the day. We're fucking confused, almost convinced we hallucinated the whole thing. Go home to take a shower and eat lunch. Walk past the garden. Cat's body has been dug up and is laying near the stairs to the back porch. Genuinely fucking upset and tired now. We rebury the cat and put a heavy rock over the grave. Tired and frustrated, I yell into the woods. Tell whatever it is to fuck off and leave us alone. Uncle thinks I'm going insane. Tells me to calm down and go inside. Go inside and calm down by taking a shower. Wait to see the light again. It never fucking returns. I have gone back to my uncle's house every summer since, and I have never seen the light again. My uncle says he never saw it again. He's convinced a fox or coyote killed the cat, then dug her back up the next night. When I ask about the light, he just says he doesn't know, and leaves it at that. Those woods still scare the piss out of me, nearly 7 years later.
Be like 15. Go to my friend's dad's ranch. The place is fucking huge. It includes 3 hills that are unexplored but belong to the same property. Me and my friend like to explore the place every time we go. The usual game is to get lost and try to find our way out. Eventually we get familiar with the terrain and it gets too boring, so one day we decide to step it off. This time we go directly to the back of the ranch. Her dad takes us in his truck, as he has to go check some stuff over there. We passed down the first hill, the smallest one. Took us like 30 minutes to get to the top. It's winter, so almost all vegetation is dry. We can find our way easily, so it gets boring again. After a bit of exploration, I find a dry riverbed, and we decided to follow it. It starts to descend between hills, getting wider. Must be afternoon, but we receive practically no direct sunlight because of the hills beside the riverbed. I notice a few cattle bones. Whatever, this is fun. We sight a dead end not too far away. As we keep on moving, cattle bones proliferate. My friend is fucking exited. Wants to go to the cave thing. I'm fucking noping at this point, but at the same time think it's a cool idea. We finally get relatively close to the cave entrance, on the dead end. It's really small and located to one side of the riverbed, like 5 meters from the floor. Friend wants to climb and get in there to investigate cause she sees too much Discovery Channel. I chicken out and remember her about all the cattle bones we've been seeing around. Bitch, we should get the fuck away from this place. What if it's some bobcats or even worse, some puma's lair? Don't kill the fun anon, let's at least check out the entrance. Can't help curiosity, so stop being a pussy and agree to go. Finally get there. We are a few meters from the cave. Dead calf half eaten right down the cave's entrance, full of worms, flies and that sort of crap. Also a few dead dogs in the same state. The smell is awful. Stupid friend is a bit grossed but still wants to go up. We kinda fight in whispers. I don't want to stay, but she insists on investigate, even thought the scene is quite fucking obvious. Suddenly a fucking baby starts crying. It's coming from inside the cave. Start as a little sob and get louder really fast. We looked at each other, freezed. Nope the fuck out and start running to where we came from. We get out of the riverbed and start descending the hill. Don't talk a word on the way back. Eventually make it to the ranch's house, find her dad. Tell him everything. Tell us it probably was a puma's nest, but doesn't believe us about the crying baby. Never go that way again anyways. It was surely a puma's lair. We've heard stories from the landlord about pumas killing cattle, pets and chickens. Also about peons getting harmed and bleeding to death when walking on these unexplored areas. I don't know. Perhaps one of these animals stole a baby? That doesn't explain why it was still alive and crying. All I know, it still gives me shivers anyways. Either way, we were about to get eaten by one of these things, or something else equally as creepy lived up there.
I have a story about a time I got stuck in the ditch, and how I had to find my way back through the snowy North Dakotan plains. I ran into some spooky shit when I spent the night in an abandoned barn. Anyone want to hear? Be me. Mid-December. North Dakota. It's one of the worst places to be for weather. Cold northern winds can take it down to -40 in a heartbeat. Unfortunately, this day was one of those days. It was blizzarding out. Snow everywhere. Could barely fucking see. And I'm driving home from Grand Forks. I had just gotten Christmas presents for my family, and Christmas was in about a week. Driving down the highway. Suddenly, see bright as shit headlights through the flurries. Shit shit shit. Swerve to avoid a head-on collision. Vroom vroom.png. POMF. I realize I just ran into the ditch. My car was stuck in a snow drift. My car is at a 45-degree angle. I can't see out the windshield or the front side windows. This is how deep the fucking snow is. Soon after, my car dies. I reach for my phone. I'm gonna need help. I never take my phone out of my coat pocket, so it should be there. Wait. My coat is at home. I had to wear a different one today because my old one had a tear on the inside. Fuck. Fuck. After swearing to myself, I look outside the back window to see where I am. I'm near a small town, about a mile away. Said small town is 7 miles from where I live. Fucking hell, I have a walk ahead of me. And there's no way I'm going to survive in this weather with all of this snow. I had better get fucking moving or I'm going to freeze to death in this car. But shit, I'm not going to just leave these Christmas gifts behind. I load them all up on my arms and back, and I open the door. About 500 meters to my right is an abandoned stead. What a lucky break. I wade my way through the fucking 2 to 3 feet snow and go towards the farmstead. I make it to the barn, walking inside the busted down door and stepping inside. Cold as tits, but a lot warmer than the snow. Decide I'll use this as a checkpoint, and look for my next stop on the way to the small town. Welp, after a look outside, there's nothing but white snow for another mile. I'm alone, and I'm absolutely fucked. There's no way I'm going to survive. It's -40, and the snow might collapse the barn on my head. Well, the blizzard's expected to go until tomorrow morning. I might have a chance if I leave then. Until then? I had better watch my ass. At this point, I can't feel my fucking fingers. My ears are icicles. I should have grabbed my gloves. And my hat. Oh well, hind vision is 20/20. Or maybe not, with all of this goddamned snow. After swearing to myself again, I see a window of opportunity. I tear my daughter's Dora the Explorer blanket out of the bag, and I wrap myself up in it. I sit there for a while, contemplating this shit I'm in. What terrible luck. I'm still cold, but the blanket is keeping me alive. About 5 hours later, my stomach growls. I'm hungry as a hippo. I consider eating the dinner I had bought, but most of it's raw meat. Well, spare the vegetables that are probably as hard as rock. But I digress. An hour later, I start eating some of the shrimp I had in there. After that, I curled up some more, grabbed the Dora pillow I had bought, and I tried to sleep. Screech. I jump up. The barn door. It's open. The fuck? The wind isn't that strong. There's no way it could have shoved the snow out of the way like that. Whatever, mate. You're imagining things. Clop, clop, clop. I'm hearing footsteps above me. It's footsteps. It can't be anything else. I get up, hiss on my hands to keep them warm, and I look around. Nothing. I see a ladder, and I climb it to go to the next level of the barn. Nothing. Damn, I must be going insane. I'm on my way back down the ladder, when suddenly I see something move from the corner. I turn and face it immediately. Wow. It's fucking nothing. With my heart racing, I go back down. I curl up in my blanket again and lay down, trying to convince myself I'm alone. An hour later, I'm spent, starving, and tired as shit. I finally pass out. I wake up some time later. I don't know what time it is, but I know it's morning, the sun is shining outside. I sit up, and I feel my ear. Well, actually, I don't. It had turned blue from the frostbite. Cursing to myself again, I look down at my bags and the presents. Well, what was left of them, anyhow? Everything I had was ravaged. The Legos I had were spilled everywhere. The Barbie dolls I had bought were all beheaded. Only beheaded, there were no bite marks, scratches. Only their heads were torn off. The other things I had bought were scattered about the ground in the barn. After I try to recover from a panic attack, I pick everything up, bag it up again, and look outside. It's not snowing. Sun is shining bright. Sky is clear. What the fuck, Mother Nature? After shrugging, I look at the town a mile away, and I start walking. I want nothing to do with this fucking barn anymore. I got home to my worried sick family after hitching a ride. It was great to see them again, after I thought I was going to die. I never figured out what the fuck happened that night, but I'm glad it decided to behead my dolls instead of me. Also, what was left of my dinner was untouched. Obviously, whatever did this either didn't like what I had or wasn't hungry.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more Greentexts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Oh.